And let's just settle into our meditation posture. And I do this as just a way to try and land, because if we've all been busy and running around and just finishing dinner or getting ready for bed or something like that, settling down children and pets and doing our last minute things at nighttime, our mind can be a little bit scattered. So it's good just to kind of settle before we do this meditation. Because you'll find that you're halfway through the practice before you start to settle, so it's good to settle before you start the practice. So check your legs and your feet, and if they are down on the ground, not in the regular cross-legged position, and make sure they're in a parallel position, maybe with something underneath your feet. Definitely something firm underneath your sit bones and slightly raised. It just helps the alignment of the spine. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. Hands in the meditation mudra with the thumbs touching. And if your hips are tight, your knees are sore, you can put a couple of cushions underneath each knee, underneath each thigh. Just imagine our spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base of the spine all the way up, through the crown of the head. And just imagine someone is above you, behind you, very gently lengthening your spine. Just putting some space in between our vertebrae. And the head is slightly tipped forward, the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose and the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And relax the jaw. And just bring our awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, and move to the back of the eye sockets. Relax the eyes. And the nose, and the area around the mouth. And let's just bring our awareness to the back of the head, the scalp, there, and down to where the occipital bone is, just at the base of the skull. And just relax that area. Now imagine you're shining a little torch into your eardrum, into your ears, and it's nice and warm. And imagine your ears are relaxing, and you'll be surprised that your jaw will relax, and your temples. So just release any tension in your neck, on your shoulders, shoulder blades, upper thoracic, and relax your throat and the chest and the belly, and your limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. Let's just bring our mind to the breath as we notice the air as it's flowing in. As you exhale, it's slightly warmer. If there are any sounds in your external environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to chase them down with your mind to see what's going on. If they're irritating you, try not to push them away. If you're curious, try not to have your mind travel over there to where the source of the sound. Just bring the mind back to the breath. And then notice your thoughts. Our thoughts are running through our mind 24/7. And we're often engaging with our thoughts, but now you have permission to not to engage. Just let the thoughts run. You'll notice they arise, they'll abide for a moment, and then if you don't engage with them, they'll just dissipate. So rather than thinking at this particular point, just try feeling. And keep the mind on the breath. Now bring to mind all the people of your life, the ones we love, our friends, our family, and then the ones we find irritating, the ones we don't like, and then there's our strangers. And it's always good to remember that at any time these different categories of people in our life, our friends, our enemies, our strangers, could change place. And it may have happened to you this year, this week, this past decade. And you might, there may be a stranger in your life who you've never thought about 2 years ago, didn't even consider. And now, maybe this person's very important to you. And they're all deserving of our equally of our concern. Because they're just like us, they all wish to be happy and they don't want to suffer. And they all have this unbelievable capacity for enlightenment, compassion, kindness, wisdom. So we'll do this meditation this evening for all the people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. So let's just bring to mind this idea that there is no negativity that cannot be purified. There's absolutely nothing you've done that's so awful that we can't do something about it. So it's a psychological process. Creating negativity is a psychological process. And so we are going to ameliorate that. We'll counteract it with positivity by doing this practice. And welcome, Jay. So first we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you've done to any living being, to harm any living being on this day, in this life, or in all past lives. And think of specific actions of your body and your speech. And then the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we will necessarily experience suffering in the future. Given that we understand all about suffering, we don't want to invite any more into our life. So therefore, logically, it makes sense to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as our future suffering. And think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And so we'll also regret our delusions, our anger, our attachment, and the rest, which are the cause of why we harm others, and think again, I'm sick of this suffering. Then we think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? And here we come to the power of reliance. So first of all, we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. So we're not asking Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're asking for his methods so we can purify and heal ourselves. So Vajrasattva, just imagine, is on the crown of your head, above the crown of your head, about an inch, 1 or 2 inches above the crown of your head. And you can imagine this is your teacher, your guru, your lama, your trusted mentor, manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And he's made of blissful, radiant white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. The analogy they like to use here is this lotus is born out of mud, but untainted by mud. And this is just like our enlightened potential. Born out of our delusions, but untainted by them. And Vajrasattva's face is radiant and beautiful and full of love and compassion for us. He has this sweet red mouth, and his hair is black and held up in a top knot. He's wearing the 5-pointed crown, embedded with jewels, all sparkling, again made of light. He's wearing jewelry around his neck, around his wrists and arms and ankles, and on his ears. He's wearing the celestial robes in the Royal Indian style. Looks like he has some harem pants on, and this sort of silken scarves around his neck, around his shoulders. It's all kind of floating in the wind, and it's all light. He has an aura around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So there's a little section here on developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So here, the very beings we have harmed, by thinking of somebody you have harmed, some sentient being you have harmed, and trying to develop a sense of compassion for them, a wish that they no longer suffer. And then for the people that have harmed us, we need to develop compassion for them, because the suffering they've caused us is going to most definitely bring them suffering in the future. So we develop a sense of compassion towards them because of that. So think, I must purify for all of their sake. So next we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine, the practice of purification. And so the first is the purification of the body. And imagine Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sending powerful white nectar, excuse me, like coming out of a hose or a waterfall or a shower, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky black liquid. And this pours out of you and into space and disappears, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So just think how amazing it would be if any time anyone sees you, smells you, senses you, it purifies their mind. Excuse me, I've got a cough. So the next is a purification of the speech. And again, Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body. Except this time forcing up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech, and this quite forcefully overflows and disappears into space. So you can imagine a whale spouting water, or LAMA YESHE talks about a hat being blown off the top of your head. So it's quite a strong overflow, if you know what I mean. And you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Mebalwa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is a purification of the mind. Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being, which is the same as when you walk into a room and you switch on a light. The darkness is dispelled instantly by that light. So it's the same here. As soon as the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, the darkness of the negativity of your mind is instantly dispelled. So all your attachment and neediness and anger and depression and anxiety and grasping and jealousy and bitterness and grudges and disappointments, all of this instantly dispelled as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebalwa Sutokaya Mebalwa Supokaya Mebalwa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. So again, be delighted, rejoice. All your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering, all of our delusions, and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified, gone. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So the next is a purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. So this time imagine Guru Vajrasattva sending light and nectar, and you can imagine, just recite perhaps if you wish, a couple of mantras for the visualizations of the body, the speech and the mind each. Or if that's too much or a bit complicated, you can just imagine light and nectar pouring into you through the crown of your head and filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kama sitame siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kama sitame siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kama sitame siddham shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva ahom pe. So now feel you are completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So the next is the power of resolve, and the final step in this purification process. And it's really a crucial step, this decision we make to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And if you can say again, ever again, but it's best just to sort of stick to something. So some of us here have been working on things for a while now. So just to, first of all, check in, how are you going with what particular habit that you might be trying to refrain from, whether it's the speech or biting your nails. And rejoice in your progress. And then think maybe, perhaps I'll refrain from it for a little bit longer than I did yesterday. Or think I won't talk about my next door neighbour for 24 hours between the time I go, for 8 hours between the time I go to bed and the time I wake up. Just think of something that you'd like to work on. Everything exists on the tip of a wish, the aspiration. So this decision we make, determination to not do again or to refrain from doing something, is really what gives us the courage and the strength to try and change our habits. So Guru Vajrasattva is delighted with us, and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call this union oneness. Next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness with 3 circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at what level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. So in this way, think of all phenomena as being empty. They are dependent arisings. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. This just helps to break down our concrete view of the world. So let's just dedicate all the positive energy, all the merit we've created this evening doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honouring the 3 jewels, savouring myself and others your disciples, please live long. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe Sherab, beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Again, gone like a dream. Thank you, Mary, very much for hosting yet again. And good night, Kim.